What's up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are having yourselves a great week. Get ready for the weekend. We are here. We're here to talk about some Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, episode 8. 2 episodes away from the final, or I guess the ending of season 1. Now, it has already been greenlit. I guess not really greenlit. They went ahead and did season 1 and season 2 back to back. So we are going to get a season 2. I guess probably next year with this finishing up. So this episode, um, it basically it's still a hangover type episode from the events that happened in episode 6 with the Miyazaki, that whole incident. So that is still lingering with the cadets. We did get some of that. Um, Actually, I don't. Yeah, we did get some of that in last week's episode with Terima being in a coma, going back to Beta Z, and recovering and stuff like that. Here, she's back. She's back from her recovery and everything. But now she's no longer at the War College. She's at Starfleet Academy. And the opening sequence has it to where she is just walking through the halls, and everybody is just kind of like looking at her, just like, not, what's the best way to put it? They're looking at her and just kind of like, which I don't know how they would know about that. Which I like. Would that even wouldn't even the students know about that? I guess it's not really a reason to keep it a secret, but I don't know. That just seems like something like you would probably like you would not talk about. Like maybe like only higher up of Starfleet officials. That is something they know about. Like an average day cadet probably wouldn't know about that. Now I could be wrong, but anyway, she is this whole episode is basically how to resolve trauma. That's basically what I got from it. Everybody's having a tough time resolving everything that happened with the Miyazaki. Um, we see like a little instance of them on, I guess it was the actual bridge with Reno, and they're going through simulations, and they're having a hard time coordinating, and it's just they're not they're not working as a team. We see Darum get like aggressive towards somebody. Everybody is just apparently struggling with letting go with what happened. Which, I mean, to be honest, it would make more sense for people like Caleb, Sam, and Jaden to really have trauma issues because they were on the Miyazaki when the incident happened. You have Daryl and Genesis that were on the Athena. They weren't really affected by the events. Like, yeah, they helped out, but they weren't directly involved as the three previous ones. I guess you want to add Cal and Bobby in there as well. They weren't involved in it. It would have made sense if, like, yeah, they were over there with them when the whole incident went down with the Furies, Bobby being killed. Yeah, I could probably understand it, but they were relatively safe on the Athena, so them having trauma is just like I don't really buy that compared to um Caleb and Jaden and Sam. I mean, you could probably throw Tarima in there as having trauma also with everything that she went through. I would probably say you could include her as well, but needless to say, so Nala has to come up with a way to basically, you know, you know, how did she say it? How to basically heal them without them knowing that she's healing them. So this is where we get Tilly. Tilly comes back for this one episode, which I thought she would have been maybe more involved in when the start of this show was announced and stuff like that, because obviously in Star Trek Discovery, I think it was maybe season four or five, where she leaves Discovery to start up or restart up Starfleet Academy and everything like that. Um, so Tilly comes in to basically help them heal from the trauma and everything. Obviously, she mentioned she read about what happened and everything. Now, Tilly has had her own. You could probably and Reno, and I guess Nala as well, but Reno and Tilly definitely have had their own set of traumatic experience with them being on Discovery and being flown thousands of years into the future and everything. Everyone you knew and loved were all gone, have been gone and dead for centuries. So they could probably understand what trauma is like and stuff like that. Um, so basically, what happens is they go full theater, and so Tilly's plan is to have them pick out a play. They're gonna pick out a play. Kind of. I don't think they're gonna like do an actual play, but they're just gonna pick out a play, and Tilly's just gonna use this as a means to fix their trauma. Now, Tarima kind of points this out throughout the episode. Like she kind of like I don't know if everybody else kind of picks up on that. That's what's happening here. Tilly is trying to get them to just basically trauma dump, just be like, I'm not okay after what happened and stuff like that. It's not really clear if they are or not. Um, but Tarima definitely does. So now there's a side story going on here as well with Sam. So you have it to where Tarima's now at the academy. She is going to be rooming with Genesis and Sam. Um, obviously, there's Tarima and Caleb they're not talking. He's trying to connect with her. She's just ignoring him and everything like that. The thing with Sam is this. So I don't know if this makes sense because the whole thing with Sam is that she does not have a way to process her trauma. So either either the phaser fire that she took from the Furies damaged her, and then she did her hollow spa thing and it patched that, but because she can't uh deal with the trauma, she doesn't have a way to process what happened. Her systems are overloading. So her, the doctor, Nala, they travel to uh Sam's homeworld to speak with the makers on potentially finding a way to fix her. Um, and so the thing they come up with when it comes to the Sam storyline, because the Doctor has been he has not wanted to connect with Sam. Like there's a moment where Sam's like, "Doctor, will you hold my hand?" Because they're gonna like analyze her and see what's going on and stuff like that, and he just wouldn't. And you could see him the way he's acting throughout the episode, and it comes to find out is because now I don't know if this was an I assume it's an actual episode if he brought it up, but he talked about how he made two children and he watched he made a family. He watched his daughter die. In reality, that was 800 years ago when that happened. But for the Doctor, it was yesterday. So it's this thing of him being the hologram, whatever, and even you could throw Nala in this as well with her being a Lanthanite. Their ability, not I guess not really ability, but their being able to live so many years compared to standard I guess humans would probably be the best way. Vulcans live relatively long lives as well. Um, and probably a few other alien races as well. So basically the plan they come up with is to fix Sam's trauma. They're gonna re- they're gonna re they're gonna integrate some new memories, a childhood for her to be able to process the trauma. So she's gonna have one set of memories. Those are the 209 days that she had been at Starfleet Academy. The other set of memories are going to be accumulated of 17 years of the Doctor being her parent and her having a childhood, her growing up and stuff like that. So that is the Sam side of things. That's roughly the Sam side of things. I wasn't really expecting them to do that all in one episode. Now back to this the play side of things. Obviously Tarima's being pretty cold shoulder to Caleb. Her and Sam do kind of connect a little bit before Sam leaves. Um, uh, what's her name? Tarima reaches out to Caleb to talk, but she's drunk. She tries to have sex with Caleb, but Caleb's like, no, 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 you're drunk, and she is just not taking it very well. She's not taking the whole, like, she has not processed her trauma. Obviously, like, really not all, like, yeah, I think I'm trying to remember how long it's been. I think from uh episode 6 to, let me see, when did I do that? Let me look. 'Cause I'm trying to remember what actually was that, episode 5 or 6. I'm thinking it was 6, but I could be wrong. But we're gonna take a look real quick. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. Sorry. So that was okay, so that was episode 6. Okay, so that was like episode 6. I think from episode 6 to 7, it was like a 3 week time lapse. I'm curious to know what it was between 7 and 8. Well, actually, been a lot longer because from 7 to 8, it was like I think it was a full month that Tarima had been gone. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's been about a full month. I guess overall from 6 to 7, I guess you could probably say it was like a full month that Tarima had been gone. But um, Tarima's very aggressive in this episode. She essentially talks about how everybody stares at her, like nobody wants to touch her, which is not really true because Caleb does. Caleb has been trying to, but she has, I guess, not really. I don't want to say process it, but she just hasn't um just got, I guess, got out of her whole head. Obviously, she suffered a traumatic experience because they even gave her a new inhibitor, like a new and improved neuro inhibitor chip, to keep her powers in check and stuff like that. Because the doctor mentions she can't do what she did in episode 6 again. Like otherwise, I guess the implication is they'll kill her. Um, and so her and Caleb, so she gets aggressive towards Caleb, and she's just saying like rude things and stuff like that. She's drunk. It's like the little Rick and Morty thing. You're drunk, and so um, and so she's just not taking it very well, and then she makes it back to her room. Genesis has to help her because she's like extremely drunk, and she tells Genesis about her childhood friend she grew up with and everything. She talked about how she went into a slide and she was never the same again. Um, but because it looks like with her and Genesis, it just feels like there was maybe like not a riff, but it was just, I don't know. I can't think of the right word or how I want to put it. There was just not tension because they weren't like hostile to each other. I don't know what the word I want to use for it was, but obviously they bond over the pillow. No, not necessarily a pillow, but Sam's pillow that they talked about. Um, and so like the next day, you know, Tilly is really really pushing it, and Tarima's just like, you know what, fail me, whatever. But even Occam, like even Occam's like, I want to stop pretending everything's okay because it's not okay, and then everybody else is just kind of like, they just haven't processed the trauma. That's the whole thing about this episode is them processing what happened about a month ago. Not saying it is easy to get over something traumatic in over a month, but I I don't know. I don't know. I would have maybe liked to. Like, this is just me speaking. I would have maybe liked to see how trauma affected each of them differently instead of it all being just a big blanket of trauma. Like I would have liked to see Caleb try to overcome the trauma of Bobby sacrificing his life to save Caleb. You know, um, um, Jaden. I don't really know about. I don't know what kind of trauma he has. Kyle was fine and just I don't know. I would like to maybe see like some more individual traumas. Like what's something that each one personally felt like they could have done better for a better outcome. Now again, they're cadets. They weren't expected to experience something like this for years when they become part of their own ships and stuff like that, their own commanders and captains and all that stuff. Um, but it came early for them, so they're having to learn. So they have an experience that other cadets don't even have right now. So they're having to learn how to handle that because there's going to be a moment when they're going to be in the captain's seat, and those moments are going to be real. They're going to be ready to like process and how to do it. So, but basically towards the end, they all recite the play that Sam picked out, um, and they all live happily ever after. So Hilly heads back out. Overall, I mean, it's okay episode, I guess. I don't know. Um, yeah, with two more episodes to go, and then we'll be done with Star Trek Starfleet Academy. This has been it's been an interesting series. I can't wait to really give my full thoughts about this series because it has. I think I mentioned this in last week's episode review where this show has not really done anything that makes me excited to see the next episode compared to something like we just finished doing A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Like I was always excited to see the next episode of that. This series hasn't really done that for me, so I'm curious to see how this plays out the rest of the way. But yeah, guys, that's relatively it. That is episode 8 of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. If you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button, comment below. Be sure to check out my gaming channel, Kick, Twitch, Rumble down in the description below for more fun content. But once again, thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.